does it take to achieve a world record? To go through hell and make your way up to heaven's gate, and all of it on electricity alone. 4 wheels, 2 powerful electric motors, and a reliable driver capable of controlling this power on any track. As the driver of the IDR, Romain Dumas turned 2019 into a milestone for the development of electromobility. With him, the IDR became the fastest electric car on the Nordschleife of the Nürburgring and faster than a Formula One car at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. Finally, Dumas also set a new track record at Tianmen Mountain. It was cold in Zell am See at the ice race when Volkswagen made the announcement back in January. Romain Dumas will drive the IDR through the Green Hell, the legendary Nordschleife, the toughest racetrack in the world.
Bike speed for me was already a big dream, but on top of that now, Nordschleife, I won many times the 24, but it will be the first time for me on a prototype there. So, you can imagine that, driving in Nordschleife with a prototype at such speed, you know, so I'm really looking forward.
About 6 months ago, Volkswagen's first fully electric racing car celebrated its premiere at Pikes Peak in the Rocky Mountains. The goal was to break the electric record, but the IDR was faster than any conventional car before it and even pulverized the track record. Mission accomplished, in more ways than one.
I think we've proved that electric cars can be passionate, that it's fantastic to see them drive, and that it's probably the future that we all have to go through.
You've made motoring history today.
Yeah, I know, but it will take some time to let it sink through.
The beginning of a success story. To this day, Romain Dumas and the IDR are undefeated.
I mean, if we are thinking a little, just 1.5 years ago, when we start, you know, to think about doing a real prototype completely electric. You know, for me, I knew prototypes from Le Mans, LMP1, and so on, but I have no idea about what could be a really fast electric car. And personally, it changed also completely my mind. When straight, we drove the car in LS the first time, and I went on power, and I realized how powerful the car is, you know. But when we came to Pikes Peak, that was really definitely the place that I realized that the car, in terms of power, is like a rocket.
A rocket with impressive acceleration. From 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.25 seconds. Thanks to its all-wheel drive and lightweight construction with a monocoque and a carbon shell, the IDR accelerates faster than a Formula One car. One of the special features of the IDR is that it has no gearbox. About 9 months have passed since the IDR's triumph at Pikes Peak. Now, Dumas is in Almeria to kick off the Nordschleife mission. The Pikes Peak track is about 20 kilometers long, almost the same as the Nordschleife. But the challenges of a circular track are very different from those of a mountain race. With a series of test drives in Spain, the team explores the intricacies of the task. Every kilometer of the track helps improve their understanding of electromobility. They have 3 months till the next record attempt.
I mean, we got first some help of people that were already building the ID because it was new for us, but very quickly we took over and then we have produced this car. Now we are a little bit of a pioneer, I would say a laboratorium for technology to try different things, and with the things that we have in mind to do maybe in the future, we have become a little bit of a showcase, and we try to push boundaries, and of course that's what we see, what we get back as data now flows to Wolfsburg.
For the record attempt on the Nürburgring, the IDR needs a completely new energy management system and a new aerodynamic setup. That's a difficult task for Hervé de Chypre, the person responsible for the IDR's aerodynamics. At Pikes Peak, it was all about cornering speed, while top speed was less of a concern. During the record attempt on the Nordschleife, on the other hand, Dumas will reach speeds of up to 270 kilometers per hour.
Now on the Nordschleife, the target or the challenge is different because you have a much higher average speed, and you are at a lower level. So, which means that in this case, the drag plays also a much more important role.
At the Porsche wind tunnel in Weissach, the car faces winds up to 300 kilometers per hour. The track underneath the car also moves, making the simulation even more realistic. Testing conditions like these are hard to come by in the rest of the world. A modified underbody, a new front spoiler, and a redesigned rear wing were introduced to reduce drag. The rear wing is 2.35 meters wide and fitted with a technology called DRS, which the engineers borrowed from the world of Formula One racing. At the touch of a button, this system lowers drag by 20%. The IDR needs to achieve higher speeds while coping with higher drag. Hervé de Chypre needs to find a solution to this challenge. He has been splitting his time between working on the computer and the car itself with the aim of creating perfect aerodynamics by improving the smallest details.
Basically, this big line is one we really try to create, so that's why we have this dive plate at the front of the car, exactly to create these vortices. The flow on the car is not trying to expand, but it's keeping around the car, which will help to reduce the drag of the car.
In France, the engineers want to find out if the IDR's aerodynamics concept will work. The Paul Ricard racetrack is the ideal place for high-speed testing.
Paul Ricard is well known for the long straight, so we are mostly to test to adapt the battery management and energy management for the long straight of Nürburgring.
As with the record run at Pikes Peak, time is a precious resource. 6 months is all the time the team has to prepare the high-tech racer for the run on the Nordschleife, with the aim of beating the electric record.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we see it for the very first time, the new IDR.
6 weeks to go until the record attempt. The endeavor is tangible now, and it's taking shape. After only 6 months of development, Volkswagen presents the new IDR, highlighting the changes that were made since Pikes Peak and showing how the car will conquer the green hell.
If you come to this racetrack and you can do it here, then you can do it everywhere, they say. So we took this as the next challenge for the car and for an electric race car.
We have to go to check mostly the battery management strategy and then the setup of the car. I mean, it's so specific that you can only... Okay, we did some work on the simulator, but now it's time to put Roma in the car and drive and check that everything which has been simulated and tested before are right, and prepare the car and the team for the time attack.
The Nürburgring with its infamous Nordschleife. This track has seen electric cars before, but none like the IDR. An extreme sports car with 500 kilowatts of power, 680 horsepower, built to break records. An extreme sports car with 500 kilowatts of power, 680 horsepower, built to break records. The record at hand is 6 minutes and 45 seconds, established by Peter Dumbreck and his electric car about 2 years ago. Now at the wheel is Romain Dumas. The Frenchman has been a Porsche factory driver for many years. He has run marathons and loves long-distance racing. To him, tracks like Pikes Peak or the Nordschleife are sprints more than anything else. The day after the world premiere, he is out on the track for his first laps.
Enjoy this moment, you know, when you are in such a quiet environment with electric power, no noise, just alone on the track like that, it's great fun. Normally, I can hear a lot of noise, a lot of when you jump and land, you know, you always have some noise inside the car and so on. Now it's very smooth, very quiet. It's quite surprising, so you also have to adapt the speed, you know, to your view, to your vision.
He is one of the masterminds behind the project, Stéphane Folio. A performance data engineer collecting and analyzing data from the car, like the speed in certain locations and the associated power drain.
You can both analyze, trying to advise the driver what is the best way to drive the car, and also to develop and to understand how the battery will react what will be the performance in this part of the track. Can we save energy there and can we use it a bit later?
At the heart of the IDR are two large lithium-ion batteries. One is located behind Romain Dumas, the other right next to him. With 915 volts of power, two electric motors drive the front and rear axles separately. In other words, the IDR has an all-wheel drive. The battery must be charged quickly. That's important in regular cars and even more so in racing cars because it allows Romain Dumas to save precious time between test runs. Charging takes about 20 minutes with two rapid charging systems providing a combined output of 90 kilowatts. A normal domestic power outlet, on the other hand, supplies only 2.3 kilowatts, while so-called wall boxes are rated at 22 kilowatts.
All of
the experience we are gathering here with the simulation of batteries, battery cells, and entire battery systems is very interesting to a lot of people. We profit from experiences made with production cars, and conversely, they benefit from the things we do. The battery in the IDR is still the same one used at Pikes Peak. But as technology progresses, the battery gets better at using energy more efficiently. And exactly that will make the difference on the Nürburgring. The optimum charging process before the race and energy recuperation during the race. When the IDR brakes, it recuperates energy just like any other electric car. And this energy is desperately needed because the car will need the full power output of 500 kilowatts till the end of the race, so that Dumas can go full throttle as he speeds towards the finish line. The engineers have run this scenario in the computer 100 times.
When you're in a simulation, you have always the perfect tires and always the perfect track condition. So on a race day, you are actually a little bit dependent on how is the track. Is it completely dry or a little bit damp? How is the vision for the driver? So it's a lot of parameters that explain why we got a little bit less performance out of the car on that day.
The weather is one of the unpredictable factors on the Nürburgring and can be very changeable. And in case of rain, the IDR would be unable to perform. The Nordschleife, merciless since 1927, about 20 kilometers long, 73 turns, a roller coaster ride. It is one of the most well-known and probably the most challenging racetrack in the world for drivers and cars alike. Former Formula One world champion Jackie Stewart once called it the Green Hell. Here, Romain Dumas won the legendary 24-hour race 3 times in a row. He has driven thousands of kilometers on this track, but would never underestimate it.
Nordschleife, you have to respect the track. You have to feel comfortable to go fast, because it's very hard track. You cannot do any mistake. But at the end, I know very well the place for sure, from so many years. So we have to work on the car, improving the setup tomorrow, feel comfortable, and at the end it will work.
Dumas is a Nordschleife expert. He knows the track like the back of his hand, but things change quickly here. So he checks the road one more time before he commences his record attempt. June 3rd, 2019. After 6 months of development, tests and simulations, the day off has finally come. Thankfully, the weather is playing along. Many have tried to conquer the Nordschleife. Many failed. But the Volkswagen team is determined to make this a day of success. 20.8 kilometers separate Romain Dumas from his goal. The current electric record was set by Peter Dumbreck in a sports car made by Chinese carmaker NIO 2 years prior, 6 minutes and 45 seconds. If everything goes according to plan, the IDR should be faster. In the morning, Dumas and the Volkswagen Motorsport crew run some final tests to collect more data and fine-tune the car's setup. Romain Dumas pushes the racer close to its limit, already beating Dumbreck's time. But he also feels that there is room for improvement. It's 2 p.m. One more try. And Dumas succeeds. 6 minutes and 5.336 seconds. The fastest electric car ever on the most famous racetrack in the world.
I enjoy a lot today. It was a lot of fun. A lot of downforce on the car. Very happy to drive alone on this nice track, you know, and pushing yourself to a limit is always cool. And thanks to the team again, Volkswagen Motorsport. Like last year, I think a perfect car today.
40 seconds faster than the old record. An eternity on a track that doesn't forgive error. Dumas makes it look easy as he pilots the IDR across the forbidding track, flying through turns, up hills, and through valleys, seemingly weightless and without a sound.
We do, of course, with record runs, you push some things already to the limit, and this, of course, is a big steep learning curve for series cars in the future. And I'm quite sure that in 4 or 5 years we are driving these cars also on racetracks and in normal life.
The IDR reaching a top speed of 273 kilometers per hour, 205 kilometers per hour on average during its record run, only using about a quarter of the energy required by a GT3 sports car. The IDR's blue paint finish represents the fastest electric car on the Nordschleife and also pays tribute to the brand's other electric cars. Goodwood, a mecca for car enthusiasts. Here, they get to see motorbikes and cars from all ages. A dozen Porsche 917s right next to a row of Formula One cars driven by Michael Schumacher. You won't see that anywhere else but here at the Festival of Speed in the south of England. Charles Gordon Lennox, now the Duke of Richmond, started the event in 1993. It attracts more than 200,000 visitors a year. They come to see the history and the future of mobility.
Our theme for the event this year is Speed Kings, record breakers in motorsport. So this whole weekend's all about breaking records. So very appropriate that Volkswagen should be here and break it with the Pikes Peak car. And we're very excited after last year's attempt. We're very pleased for Volkswagen that they've managed to do it, and great for Romain. It was a fabulous drive. I'm sure he'll break it again today probably, and push it a bit further away from everybody else.
Nick Heidfeld has been holding the Goodwood record for 20 years. He established it in 1999 in a Formula One racing car powered by a 3-liter V10 aspirated engine and putting out about 574 kilowatts or 780 horsepower. His record stands at 41.6 seconds. Honestly, 20 years ago, I wasn't thinking about e-mobility. That only came recently. I didn't think the record would stand for this long. It's exciting to see a car with a performance like this 20 years after I set the current record with a Formula One car, and seeing that this is now possible with an electric car. It's the first time I get to see the car up close. It looks great. A little while ago, I met some Mahindra team members who saw the car driving down a straight section of the track yesterday. They said they didn't hear much, but the trees and leaves along the track suddenly went whoosh. Faster than 40 seconds in Goodwood, one of the magic thresholds in motorsports. No one has been this fast, ever. In 2018, the IDR was here for the first time and missed the 40-second mark by a hair. Now, it's 2019 and time for a new attempt. By now, all of the fans are familiar with Volkswagen's first fully electric racing car and its driver. As a result, the pressure and the expectations are much higher. The 1.86-kilometer track is a mixture of a mountain race and a rally in the woods. Will the IDR be able to beat the Formula One?
His best of the weekend. What can he do, Jack? Through the first corner. This all-electric Volkswagen IDR kicks up the turn on the inside of the second turn. Now to the park straight and up towards Moulcom. Every time I say it, you look out the window and he's arriving so fast, and by the time he's looked out to see where he is, he's 3 seconds up. The question is, can he go quicker than yesterday? Can this car get into the 40s? That was his aim after yesterday. I think the answer is going to be yes. He's taken even more time out of Jeremy Smith's top 40. Yes! 39.90, the fastest ever time up the Goodwood Hill. What a run and what technology.
A lot of people were quite surprised, you know, because you can expect an electric car to be fast, but possible not to go below 40 seconds here. And yeah, it proves that this now electric car not only fast, but really, really fast. I think we knew from last year from Bike Speed. But again, for this weekend, I think it's again a next step. So that was very important to prove that.
Romain Dumas becomes the first driver to complete the Goodwood track in under 40 seconds. 39.9 seconds. A milestone. Faster than the Formula One.
I think already this gives us a lot of, let's say, energy to have a look to what we can do on other racetracks. And I think with the technology that is there and improving very fast, very soon we will also attack other records.
Tianmen, Heaven's Gate. The famous rock formation in China has been the backdrop of many daring stunts in the past. There is a lot of curiosity. In a simulator, fans try their hand at navigating the track with its 99 turns and challenge Romain's time. Motorsports and e-mobility are hot trends in China. The record racer presents itself with a new design, a striking red finish. After its previous light gray and blue paint scheme, the powerful red tone now stands for the 5th record attempt of the prototype, and Chinese television reports live from the event.
纯电赛车 IDR 就是要在这样一条极险道路上。
The track is about 11 kilometers long and has 99 turns before reaching Heaven's Gate. It's impressive and spectacular, but has little in common with a regular racetrack. The road is narrow, the corners extremely tight. Even a small mistake could send the car flying off a cliff down into the abyss. Screaming along at 230 kilometers per hour, followed by hard deceleration to creep around another tight corner. That's the challenge the IDR faces at Tianmen.
We adjust the car all the time, setup, and so on. The last one I was for sure a lot quicker because I took more risk where it's bumpy and so on because it was the last chance. So I took more risk, but no, it was a lot of fun. It started to be fast now at the end. It was okay.
I think it was important we did this today. It was a sensational event. We achieved a fantastic time, and I think the journalists were very excited as well. We want to show that you can enjoy electromobility without giving anything up. And we want to show that, although Volkswagen is known for being a little late to the game sometimes, once we decide to join in, we do it in full force. And today, Romain Dumas and the IDR proved this point very impressively. Especially for this record run, the starting and finish line of the track were determined officially. Therefore, the IDR now holds the track record of 7 minutes and 38.585 seconds. Pikes Peak, Nordschleife, Goodwood, Tianmen. 2 years after its creation, the IDR remains unbeaten.
Record after record, you know, they are following more and more the story. Even in China, so many people after the race came to me and said, wow, it was so nice, the road was so nice, the record looks amazing. You can see that people get more and more attached on the project, and this is very important.
At the IAA in Frankfurt, Romain Dumas' record-breaking year is coming to an end. As the first member of the fully electric ID family, the ID3 celebrates its world premiere right next to the IDR, a car that will continue to break records.
There is a big change in the mentality of people. Everything needs time, but I'm quite sure that if we keep telling this story, if we keep proving that this car has emotions, that it's fascinating to drive, that the technology is amazing, that this is the future, then I'm quite sure that also people will start to believe it. And I mean, if you look to it, it's very easy to see.
The fastest electric car in the Nordschleife, a track record and a faster performance than the Formula One in Goodwood, and, of course, the record at Tianmen Mountain. That's the impressive summary of Romain Dumas' work with the IDR in 2019. Plus, the track record at Pikes Peak. Very different tracks with very different challenges, all of which the fully electric racing car overcame without a sound. It is often said that motorsports is a testing ground for production cars, and the IDR proves this point. It's a high-tech lab on wheels, teaching engineers what electric cars can do for the future of mobility. And one thing is certain, soon Romain Dumas will climb into the cockpit again and continue to chase records.